Serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
Relationship between the supervisors, managers, including myself, as well as the workers, became combative.
This had been a day of reckoning for Cass County Social Services. Allegations were discussed regarding a hostile workplace within the Child Protective Services unit.
The discussion spread to include all agencies within Cass County Social Services. Valley News Team's Joshua Pagaro was there to find out what happens next.
Stacy Brenner spent nearly 11 years working at the Economic Services Division of Cass County Social Services.
And with the upper management, you really felt like you were walking on eggshells, to top it off with all the other stresses.
Brenna says she would have retired there if it wasn't for the toxic work environment.
I felt as though I was singled out quite often, nitpicking on me. There was a lot of retaliation as well when I would go up to the upper management to discuss the issues.
That issue was front and center inside the Cass County Courthouse.
All members that were interviewed identified that the work environment in the CPS unit could be considered hostile.
Earlier this month, a complaint detailed allegations of bullying and intimidation by management towards employees in the Child Protective Services unit. What we've now learned is that the problems are being felt throughout all agencies.
We take those issues very seriously.
On top of unmanageable caseloads among CPS employees, Ammerman says the relationship between workers and management is combative and is not working properly.
The culture within the CPS unit is something that they are questioning whether they want to have a long-term commitment.
Ammerman presented the board with a plan to move forward. It included placing Division Manager Linda Dorf on a work improvements plan. Dorf was one of several managers that employees allege has an abusive leadership style.
Several of the direct interviews I had with them, you could see the emotion. They were very concerned as to how the work environment was over there.
Commissioner Chad Peterson said Ammerman wasn't going far enough in his recommendations, but he stopped short of calling for the ouster of Dorf. The board acknowledged that it would be difficult because of her experience. In Fargo, Joshua Pagaro, Valley News Live.
Plans are to continue to find ways to resolve the hostile workplace across county agencies. The next step is to meet with the Cass County Social Services at its next board meeting.
Farmers can't seem to catch a break. Today has been another washout with unneeded rain. Let's check in with Hutch, who joins us with tonight's No Wait weather planner. Hutch?
Yeah, that wind is really driving the rain as well. Many areas seeing gusts over 40 miles per hour. That does include Fargo, now up to 51 mile per hour. Our peak gust today, 48 miles per hour, the peak gust in Jamestown. And wow, in the Park Rapids area, a report of a 54 mile per hour gust. Rainfall amounts that have fallen in gauges at different cities range from a few hundredths to a half of an inch or so near Jamestown. But the colorful pictures you see there, radar indicating in the greens and the yellows where we have between 1 and 2 inches of rainfall. That's taking a toll. Look at the Oslo area and major flood stage Maryland Ness, showing us the Beat Pile Station as well as overland flooding there. And take a look at this muddy disaster in Marshall County as our friends who are trying to farm are getting hit once again with rain. The rain and the wind continue all evening. You two, I'll have details on who may see flakes of snow in your hour-by-hour forecast in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
A 51-year-old man is now in jail in connection to a Moorhead bank robbery. More than 6 months after a Moorhead bank was robbed, this man is under arrest for the crime. 51-year-old Robert Evans was taken into custody on Friday in Marietta, Ohio by the U.S. Marshals Service. He was wanted for the May 1st robbery at the Gate City Bank located at a Hornbacher's in Moorhead. He had been on the FBI's most wanted list as a suspect to crimes in several states.
Authorities have released more information on a house fire in Castleton. They say the structure is a complete loss. The call came in around 6:30 this morning that a house was on fire in the 400 block of Langer Avenue. Roads were blocked off in the area as crews worked the fire. The house was declared a total loss when the roof collapsed. Nobody was in the house at the time. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time.
No foul play is suspected in the death of a man found along the Red River in Fargo. Police identified the body as 35-year-old Brian Reed. His remains were found last Thursday near Dyke East, that's close to Island Park. Authorities are still waiting for autopsy results to determine the exact cause of death. That could take several weeks.
A stolen trailer has been found, but the contents inside are still missing. Valley News Live ran a story last week about a Fargo contractor who lost the trailer and equipment inside. He valued the loss at $30,000. DeLon Schmidt said he got a call from someone who saw our report. The trailer was found in South Fargo, about 10 blocks from the job site where it was taken. At this point, he says he's still out at least $19,000 in equipment that was taken.
Nearly 100 veterans from North Dakota and Minnesota are expected back in Fargo around 8 tonight. They're finishing up a whirlwind trip to our nation's capital. That journey started early yesterday and it wrapped up with a stop at the World War II Memorial this afternoon. 5 World War II vets from the area paid their first visit to the memorial, most having a hard time talking about it.
It brings back memories, and you think back of the times we spent in the Second World War, the shortages and the hardships that people gave up by.
When one was asked what he would like to be a part of the greatest generation, he shook his head no and said it was merely a job and he was there to do it. Look for more coverage of the honor flight's return to Fargo later tonight.
After nearly 10 years at its South Fargo location, a coffee shop will be closing its doors at the end of the month. Dunn Brothers Coffee at the intersection of 13th Avenue South and 25th Street South will brew its last cup of joe on October 31st, according to the owner. The nearest Dunn Brothers Coffee franchise is at the Cashwise on 52nd Avenue in Fargo.
Restaurant goers in Jamestown have one less place to stop after Perkins closed its doors for good last night. The well-known nationwide business filed for bankruptcy earlier this year. The chain was purchased by Huddle House for just over $51 million. The closing in Jamestown came as a surprise to most employees who now say they're out of a job. But as Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley found out, another Jamestown cafe is trying to help by guaranteeing all former Perkins employees a job.
I said I'd match or better, and I provide half of health insurance, so I'll pay them better than they made before.
As of this afternoon, Redinger says 5 people from Perkins already came to interview at his cafe and were hired.
Higher education students across the nation are faced with the issue of debt after graduation. North Dakota Career Builders is a new statewide program created to deal with this issue. The program consists of $12 million overall, $6 million from the state and $6 million matched by private organizations. In order to qualify for a scholarship, a student must be enrolled in a degree program for an in-demand occupation. They must also work in North Dakota in that field for 3 years. For loan repayment, a graduate must have worked in an in-demand occupation for at least 1 year.
This is just really a way to encourage individuals to pursue those programs. Keep in mind, these programs are all 2 years in length, 2 years in length or less.
This program is intended to bolster skilled workers in the state. You can find the entire in-demand list and more information on the program by visiting the NDUS website.
Talk about a monster football game this weekend. NDSU plays South Dakota State in Brookings. A reminder to join us again this Saturday for the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football pregame show. Coverage begins at 1 live from the Fargo Dome with kickoff to follow at 2 between the Bison and the Jackrabbits on the KVLY and KFYR Bison Football.
News Live at 6. Governor Burgum takes a big step to ensure that there's help available for farmers who are being hit hard this harvest.
Now, the almanac says it wasn't far from normal today, but if you took one step outside, you realize the difference. And look how much more rain we've had than average, over 8 inches above for the year. Grand Forks 47 today. The wind, the rain, and even a few flakes continue in the forecast. Details next.